From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter at a special news report. We are, of course, a show that's about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Jennifer Landa.
And I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
As I said, we are here to talk about, well, it's not breaking news because it came out last week, but we are going to dive into a big Star Wars news special report. That's right, Star Wars 77, the original that your uncle's been telling you about at parties for years, will get a re-release. We're going to dive into all of that and the truth behind it, and maybe even the controversy behind it. We're going to first remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by our shop on Fourth Wall, our merch shop, that is. Check out our merch store there. Pick up a t-shirt, a pint glass, a coaster, something to help support the show and represent ForceCenter out in the galaxy. Always looking to add more items. If there's something you're dying to have, like you're like, man, I need a ForceCenter Speculate Responsibly tote bag. We'll make your tote bag dreams come true. Head over to the link down below if you're watching on YouTube, or for the audio listeners, ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com, ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com. Saw some growth this week at Joseph's on YouTube, meaning we're closer to our goals on YouTube.
That is wonderful. We are building to a goal of 10,500 subscribers on YouTube. It's been a while now since we have gone full face, and we appreciate the support and the growth. Like I said before, when we started, 10,000 was this faraway dream goal. We said maybe when Ahsoka Season 1 comes out, we'll get to 10,000. Oh, there's a strike. Anyway, so it's great. The point is, it's great. You set goals and you do make them eventually. So, Ken, how close are we to 10,500 subscribers?
We're about 220 away.
Let's do it today.
Let's do it today.
No problem. Yeah,
That's right.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We also are on Blue Sky and trying to post there a little bit more often. We had a little bit of success. We posted a few more times this week, and I think we'll build even more. So thank you, everyone who has joined us and to help us keep growing.
Indeed. As Madonna said, Greta Garbo and ForceCenter gave good face. That's what we've been doing here for a couple of years. Indeed. Yesterday, we celebrated 10 years with Alex and Molly on Star Wars Explained and ForceCenter's co-live stream. So thank you to all those who tuned in. We appreciate that. Usually, we try to do the news first now to catch up with it, but here we are on tape. So we'll get into that. But I do feel we should talk a little bit about life adventures. It is for us a Monday morning. Jen, you have been buried in school. Welcome back to the show, by the way. How are you?
Thank you. I'm hanging in there. I've showed up, and that's sometimes all we can do in life, right? That's about it. Yeah, I didn't have any Star Wars adventures, although it was kind of funny. I was at my daughter's championship game yesterday, and emotions were high. A lot of pressure for these kids. They really wanted to win. And we were taking a moment to kind of regroup in the bathroom. And all of a sudden I hear over the announcer or the speakers, the Imperial March. It was not the Imperial March the way that we know it. It was like some sort of more like sports type, like on an organ or something. Right. But in that moment, I was like, this is a sign. And my daughter said, what kind of sign? And I said, I don't know, but it's good. Because it's Star Wars. And when Star Wars is here, that means that everything's going to be okay. And guess what? They won the championship.
There you go.
Which sport is it again?
So that was basketball.
Nice.
Girls basketball. Yeah, they fought hard. But that was really neat. It was just like in that moment, the Imperial March, an interesting choice. I would have chosen the Force theme, but that's okay. However,
it's a little less sporty, that Force theme.
Right.
Yeah, rah rah. Right. It's not quite rah rah. Let's go. The way
it's reflective. Our basketball team lost, but man, we all found ourselves.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations to the girls basketball team there. That is amazing. That is amazing. Did I have Star Wars adventures? No, not as much. I had a Star Wars adjacent adventure because it's the holiday season. I felt the urge to watch a little bit of a Christmas movie, and on the recommendation of many in my live chat on my show, The Blathering, but specifically a longtime ForceCenter listener, David Mackay, he gave it a full-throated recommendation. I watched last Christmas the Paul Feig movie, co-written by Emma Thompson, starring, of course, Emilia Clarke. And you know what? I'm here to report I really enjoyed the film. It did exactly what I just needed it to do. It kind of moved me. I thought it was a great, inspiring story about connecting with other people in a way to kind of maybe heal yourself, but not in a selfish way, but just in a natural, just good, full, robust kind of way of living. And I thought it was sweet. And perfection? No, absolutely not. I didn't expect a perfect Ted movie. I expected to be uplifted, and I was. So hats off to the Last Christmas team. And I've been singing Last Christmas all morning to my dog.
It's a little picture of what things could have been like for Kira and Han if things had been different.
Exactly.
I really like the film. It is exactly what it says on the tin, as they say. It's a heartwarming little holiday rom-com, and Emilia Clarke is funny as hell.
Yeah, she's charismatic, and it was so fun to see. We all spent so much time with her in genre. Understandably, that's been her bread and butter. But I thought she was adorable as always, and everyone was great. So there you go. Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Watch Last Christmas. There you go. Joseph, did you watch any little Christmas rom-coms? Or
Sadly, no. And Star Wars did not find me in the bathroom. It did Jennifer. But I had a weird and fun Star Wars adventure. A friend of mine was on Jeopardy on Friday night, was a contestant. And she had a little party to watch it. And one of the categories was Star Wars. And it was, I know this about Jeopardy, but it was one of those reminders of that, like, most categories, if you know it really well, are like, it's not too deep. And the impressive thing about Jeopardy is people who know like a little bit about a ton of stuff and have such great recall. The Star Wars questions weren't that difficult. But what was fascinating about it was this sort of a generational thing of there was a gentleman who'd been the long time, several day champion. And he picked Star Wars right away. And he was a little cocky about it. And he wagered not in dollars, but he wagered in credits. He's like, I'll take this section for 400 credits. So I was like,
boy.
This older gentleman, like maybe our age, but I think maybe a little bit older, maybe 60s, was like, he's going to crush. First question was about the prequels.
I knew it.
And he gets it wrong. It was like, what's the second film called?
Yeah.
And he said it was Revenge. He buzzed in and said Revenge of the Clones. And then there was this younger kid, 20s, maybe 30s, a young black kid, and he just crushed it. He just ran through it. The only not prequels question was, what is the snow planet? And he's like, Hoth. But otherwise it was like very simple questions about Anakin and General Grievous, and just like, picture Samuel Jackson as Mace Windu, and like, who is this? And he's like, Mace Windu. Come on. And it was just kind of one of those pictures of like, I was like, I don't want to make assumptions, but like, is this older gentleman? Does he like the prequels? Is he going to know the prequels? And it was just amazing that it played out that way.
I think that gentleman is going to enjoy our next story, or one major story. But you love to see it.
Boy.
You love to see it. Not that
it was just. The older gentleman went on to win the whole game. So, and maybe he celebrated by watching Revenge of the Clones.
Revenge of the Clones.
Yeah.
Boy.
There's our Star Wars adventures. Now it's time for some news. And yeah, that guy's going to be happy because as it was confirmed last week after long kind of, well, I'll say decades of speculation, but the last couple months there's been heavy speculation this was going to happen. It's finally happening. The, quote, original Star Wars film is heading back to theaters. This is going to happen on February 19th. 2027, we'll all be able to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 4, now called A New Hope, with the re-release of the original 1977 version. And it's being billed as a once-in-a-generation event, but here's the exact wording from StarWars.com. Part of Lucasfilm's year-long 50th anniversary celebration, a newly restored version of the classic Star Wars, in parentheses, 1977's theatrical release, later renamed Star Wars A New Hope, will play in theaters for a limited time. So there you go. In my day, it was called Star Wars. People finally have their victory. Much to discuss. I'm going to say my first question for us here is first reaction. What do we think of this day? And I'm just going to start right now by saying I'm excited for this. I think this is great. I think this is smart. I think this is a good business decision. I'm going to try to keep my snark to a bare minimum, but man, I have a lot of people I want to yell at. A lot of people, Jed. So what's your gut reaction to this?
Wait, I want to know. Who are you going to yell at?
Anyone who says that, well, my day was called Star Wars. I'm so over those folks. Yeah. And the special edition conversation versus the original conversation has been going strong since 1997. It is perhaps one of our oldest debates around these parts. And I can't lie, this news kind of is colored a little bit through that perspective for me. So I want to establish, I think this is great. I think it's a smart business move. I think it's fun. And I'm surprised as hell that somewhere George either signed off on it or there's some clause in a contract that they kind of exploited. I don't know what happened. We'll talk about that, but that's my overall view there. So, Jed, your first reaction, and did we think we'd see this day?
No. I mean, and here's the funny thing about the language that they chose, right? A newly restored version. So this is not like, what does that mean? What is their version of restored? I'm curious about that, right? Like parsing that out. I'm also curious who restored it. Wasn't it like the British company that does like film restoration? Whatever.
BFI showed a screening of a print they discovered, and it was not cleaned up at all. It was we found a print that was in surprisingly good condition. So they just played one of the literal stacks of film reels that had been shipped to Britain back in the day. So that's a part of this is, would Lucasfilm, Disney ever spend the money? Because the last for us as fans known versions of these were the bonus disc on the special edition discs that came out in 2006, but those weren't cleaned up. Those were just thrown on, and like real film files, real cinephiles and physical media heads are like, they're trash. They're not cleaned up at all. So you're right to really center in on that of like, what all does that mean? How much did they do to it? Not in terms of changes, but in terms of fixing it up, the negative. What did they do to the sound? Not in terms of changes, but in terms of restoration and quality.
Yeah.
Right.
That changes
Yeah.
for you, Jen?
It doesn't take away from what it is, which is like a piece of history. That's how I view it. And I do want to know like what George Lucas thinks about it, obviously getting his blessing and stuff like that. I want to know who was in charge of this. So I'm more about like the logistics, because at this point I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like if you had told this to me many, many years ago, I would have been like, yes, finally the answer. Right. But to the age old debate, special editions versus original, like I'm so past that. It's cool. That's my response. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cheeky, baby. It's cheeky. Joseph, your reaction to all this? And did you think we'd see this day?
I did think that we would see this day after Kathleen Kennedy attended the BFI premiere. Like, I don't know all the logistics of, I think Disney and Lucasfilm and whoever handles their film rights probably still would have needed to sign off on a public screening, even though BFI held the actual print. I've dealt with that kind of stuff, and you still, even if it is like I'm playing my personal Blu-ray from home, you still need to get rights for a screening. So somebody authorized that public screening, and Kathleen Kennedy showed up to it. So I kind of felt like that the fact that she was at that BFI premiere and it made news and she spoke, she wasn't even in attendance. She's just in attendance. She spoke, made me feel like, oh, they're going to do this for the 50th because now's the time to do it. If you just did it for randomly, like, it's the 48th anniversary, then I think you're wading even more into the which version and does George approve. The 50th anniversary is the year to do it. So I had hoped that they were going to do it. For my own personal reaction, I'm thrilled as a Star Wars fan. I can't wait to sit and just watch it and experience it the way it was. I am thrilled as a proponent of history and film history of let's not just it isn't just about the narrative of like, oh great, we get to see Han shoot only. It's the yes, to a lot of people's eyes, younger eyes, the special effects are going to look real bad. The Vaseline on the lens to cover the wheels of the land speeder's going to look bad. The black boxes around the TIE fighter are going to look bad to a younger generation. But it's history that with the imperfect technology compared to what we have now, that magic was still captured. And so I'm so thrilled to see it as a Star Wars fan and as a proponent of history. And then, like you, Ken, I have to work hard to separate my personal reaction from getting mad about the discourse. And we can talk more about it, but I think it's just the big picture is that people our age, some women, but in my experience, mostly dudes, are very angry and certain and kind of cruel in the way that they talk about the original versions being available versus the special edition. And so some of that is in danger of tainting my own personal joy. So I'm happy to be able to talk through it and work through it and try to keep them separate.
Yes, it's a lesson in just kind of letting things wash over me. We'll get into that, but again, I'll highlight that I do think this is fun, and I can't wait to attend one of these screens, and it's going to be great. I just think I'm not going to chat with many people after and protect my own joy of this situation. But I also think it is, as we've been looking, 10 years back on ForceCenter and all this kind of stuff, is like this kind of stuff does matter to me, the discourse and the gatekeeping around it. But we'll talk about that in a second. But Jen, I also agree with you. Like, what is the restored version? Like, we'll speculate how this happened, but like, is McClunky going to be in there, but just restored to now 4K? I don't know. Like, what are the rules?
Right. Yeah, Joseph, you're saying no. I agree. I can't imagine, no. Right? It's going to be like,
I can't imagine.
I think you're right. Right? It's going to be like bad. And I don't want to say bad. It's just not going to be as polished or as put together as most modern audiences remember. Even people who saw it in the theater are going to be surprised, because I think our memories make it more like, wow. Because at the time, like my dad always talks about, when he saw it, there was nothing that had been seen like that before. It was truly mind-blowing. I went and saw Back to the Future, as I've told you guys. That still really held up. That was pretty amazing. This is not going to be that. I think that there's going to be things that are going to be impressive, and I do also. I'm curious who this is going to really appeal to. I could see this appealing to like maybe some teenagers or young adults, because for the historical aspect, they could be like, whoa, this is like kind of cool. It feels very like shoestring budget kind of thing, right? It maybe makes them feel more like it's achievable, right? Because that's kind of what I would think. Certainly maybe the guy on Jeopardy might be like, hooray, finally my time has come.
I think so.
Right? And like our generation, but I can't. I mean, I'm sure parents will drag their kids, but like, I think kids have become so sophisticated with what they see, they might have a harder time buying into it.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
And there's been those leaks that have been out there of some of the restored shots. Whether or not that's 100% true or from the actual thing that we're going to see, I don't know. But yeah, I've been seeing those pop up and sent to me, and like they look neat and everything. They look gorgeous. That's why I can't wait to see this. But I think memory does play some tricks on us, doesn't it? It's gonna, and a lot of the versions we watched along the way, VHS and otherwise, were already fixed in little ways. This isn't, you're not going to have the X-wing shots. You're probably not going to have McClunky, all that kind of stuff, and Han will be the only one shooting. I got it. But it's gonna feel a little different, and it sounds like I'm being down. I'm not. I can't wait to sit in the theater and see this. This will be fun. It'll be fun. But I do want to talk about that. The original version versus the special edition has gone on since 1997, like I said. And that does factor into my reaction to this news. It really does. I quote often my friend Adam Witt of the Movie Guys, who said our generation, generally speaking, the Gen X's and are a little older, but our generation, the first chance they got, they tried to destroy Star Wars for the generation behind them. And that was in reference to the prequels in 1999. But I really think, and Adam would agree, that actually probably started in 97, or even the lead up to 97, which is part of a big part of my feelings towards this whole situation. Where even recently, I've we all run into it, but we run into those, like you said, Joseph, certainty. That not only was this the version, and this should have only been the only version, but like, how dare George tweak anything? And I take big issue with that. I take big issue with that kind of stuff. That's my starting point. Jen, how angry? I know Joseph and I are working through some things. Where are you like? I don't know 100% where you are.
I think my Wi-Fi temporarily went out. What was where were you guys going?
Oh, sorry. I
Okay.
had the note. Yeah, you can hear me. I
Okay,
had the
good.
notes up, so I didn't see you drop. How Joseph and I have wrestled and are open and want to work through it even today on our joy for this kind of news versus the long held battle over the different versions. But I'm not.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that?
I'll tell you what, it's humbling, this younger generation. Everything that we do as people of our generation is cringe. They laugh at us. And so it kind of gives me perspective on some of the people from our generation and how seriously they take this debate. Most other people are laughing at them. We're going to become the old people yelling at the sky. Like,
Right.
It's a movie. Let's just enjoy it. I think valuing like the historical aspect of it is really cool. I bet you maybe somewhere George might even make an appearance, George Lucas, which could be really, really meaningful. There's just a lot of good to it. And the only thing I'm sad about is I really wish that the Cinerama Dome was up and running, or like ArcLight. I guess I'll have to go to Alamo Drafthouse, but having, or even like a screening where it was more like a USC film school, right? Where it's like we get to get kind of this commentary. I find that to be really good. But in terms of the people of our generation, you guys get over it.
Wait, are you saying that I got to get over it? What are you saying?
No, not you, not you. I'm thinking of the people that we argue with at the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me the thing is, like I have a friend who is our age, and he has a very strong opinion about it, and he has tracked down some do it yourself where people have made despecialized high end versions that you can get. Go into an alley and say psst to somebody wearing a Star Wars trench coat, and they can give you the despecialized version, the original trilogy. So there are people out there who just like it's what they grew up with. They love it, and they're upset that they can't have access to it. And I think none of this would have ever happened if Lucas had said, "I'm going to release not the special edition, but the producer's cut."
Right.
1997 on, the original is available and the producer's cut, just like Blade Runner, right?
Right.
There are 800 versions of that. There's 2 versions of Superman 2. I think what set people off was that Lucas said, these are the special editions, and now they're the editions that exist, and I'm going to make the editions that you knew and you grew up with unavailable. And I think there are people who are upset about that in terms of the history is being lost, and then there are people who are upset about that in terms of, those are the ones from my childhood, and you get into this philosophical debate about who owns art, not legally, but philosophically, who owns art. So there's all that stuff that I think is like rich and complicated. But what I struggle with is there are dudes who are just angry and kind of mean and vicious about this. And I think part of it is there was that window in the late 90s, all through the 2000s, where kind of edgelord comedy was, a big thing. And George Lucas just took so many not thoughtful. Let's debate the philosophy of who owns art, just like I'm going to say an unpleasant thing, but it was said all the time. George Lucas raped my childhood. I don't even like saying it, but people said it all the time, like they were drinking water, like it was a normal thing to say. And it's that sort of like vicious anger at George Lucas and how dare he take this from me. I don't like that energy. And it's the energy with which people of our generation can kind of come at this sometimes that bums me out. And frankly, when I'm sitting there in the theater, I'm going to cheer when Han shoots only, because I think it's a better scene that way. But then there are going to be people next to me cheering with hate and anger in their heart. And I don't want to cheer with those people. I
I
want to cheer
agree.
for the scene I like.
Well, they're cheering for, did you come on board in '97? Well, you were wrong. This is the
Mhm.
right way to come on board. Yeah. You're talking speaking some truth, Joseph, about just the energy behind it that infuriates me, and a lot of it about George. A lot of the conversations I've seen or been a part of or tried to avoid recently, it isn't just simply about this is better than the special editions. There's things I love in the special editions. Do I love Jedi Rocks? I'm better with it than I was, but no, it's not my favorite thing. It's not that. It always seems to go to George. And while I do agree, George, held the originals behind lock and key. I get the difference there. I like met so many out there. A big Beatles fan. I actually prefer the McCartney stripped down, Let It Be naked versions of Let It Be Long and Winding Road. But if you want the Phil Spector versions, they're there. So we never had that thing. You got to choose for yourself. If you thought this was a Paul ego trip, go for it. If you thought this was a Spector ego trip, go for it. Like, it's all there. But George, but it always is about this man and just viciously attacking him for him going, no, I made this and I didn't like how it turned out and I made changes along the way. Anyways, that's part of, and it's angry. They're always so angry.
That's for me. I feel quite sorry for them. Like, I used to get really angry too, and I used to make videos targeting them or trash talking them. And now I just see them because I often meet some of these people. They might be fellow parents or whatever. And it's kind of sad, like, that you're going to be so angry about something. And it's clearly not really about Star Wars. It's not really about George Lucas. It's something else that they're working through that they're really angry about and clearly projecting onto poor George Lucas. It's like, it's not his fault. Like, he's a filmmaker. He's going to do his own thing. And at the end of the day, sometimes people spew all this stuff online because they feel safe and they feel like they can hide. But sometimes if people are that angry, they're not going to even show up. And they're going to be quite, cocky about it. I didn't even go to that screening because they've cleaned it up and it's a restored version. I want the original. And it's like, that's just sad. Like, it's really.
I want everyone in the theater to have a mustache and be smoking, or else it isn't 1977 Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I feel sorry for them because they have nothing else to.
Bell bottoms or no entry. I also just think that I saw a post. It wasn't particularly angry. It was just like, it was a picture of the Ronto entirely obscuring the screen as it crosses in front of the land speeder with Obi-Wan. That, which I prefer the original version as well. It's the little comic how much the screen gets blocked. But they posted, like, how could anyone think this was better? And it really made me think about, like, sometimes we're talking about quality, but a lot of times we're just talking about, hey, if you like the special edition or the original version, it's just a question of, when were you born? Lucas did mostly put these in lock and key. And I'm sure a ton of the people listening to this podcast or watching it, they just saw the special edition. It's just the thing that always existed for them. And it isn't a weighing of quality or a back in my day or a how dare George. It's just, a Jawa's always fallen off a Ronto and made a funny sound, and that's Star Wars to them. Yeah. And on a positive note, I can't wait to hear from those people who just, like, I never picked a battle. I just grew up with this. The same way, it's not my fault that I think Phil Hartman is the best person to ever be on Saturday Night Live. It's when I was born. You know what I mean? Like, yes. I didn't really actually, I am not watching Saturday Night Live. I don't often watch it anyway, but if I did, I wouldn't be like, now, is this person better than Phil Hartman? Phil Hartman's just always going to be the best to me because he was the guy when I watched. Yeah. And I feel like there's a conflation of, there can be a really interesting conversation of, when were you born? What did you encounter first? How do you feel now? Ask a younger person, do the special effects bother you? Do you miss the Jawa falling off the Ronto? Does it change how you see Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi now that he's not in A New Hope? Because he always has been for you. All that stuff can be really interesting conversations if we just take a deep breath and let it not be a battle, but just respect that people have different perspectives because when they're born, and then you get into a quality conversation. Then you can get into what's the true difference between all the Han and Greedo scenes on a qualitative level basis, just what are you used to?
You reminded me to take a breath. Sure, you don't want to make a slam video, Jen? You want to make a slam rap video?
Oh yeah, those are the days.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fact. I want to hear from those who never. Hey, by the way, I don't even think I can say I've seen the original because I didn't really watch it. You know, I mean, I did. I was in a drive-through at one, but like my first viewing was off television, so who knows what the hell I was watching? You know, like I've always joked that I'm not alone. My version includes a commercial break right before Leia's tortured. Like that's imprinted on my brain. I know the exact moment the commercial hits. So yeah, I want to see the 97 kids now grown who watch it and be like, man, kind of missed that establishing shot of the X-Wings coming in to the Battle of Yavin.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of missed it. It'll be fun. That'll be part of the fun if we allow it. And I'm going to choose. You're right. I'm going to choose fun and joy. Unless Jen wants to make a slam rap video.
Oh, those days are long behind me.
I don't know if they're that far.
No, they're not.
Continuing in our news special report, part of the fun. It is fun. I've had a lot of conversations the last couple of days of just how this came to be. Joseph, if you have any wild speculation as how this came to be, I want the wildest theories and maybe the truth.
I think that this is my wild speculation. I don't think George put anything in the massive tome of a contract when he made the sale that forbid this. I think if he had forbid it on a contractual legal level, then it wouldn't be happening. So I don't think he put anything in it. I think what held it back was it cost money to restore it, and I think that either they were already planning this, and that BFI release was a convenient, like, ooh, let's go show the face of Lucasfilm being okay with this and warming people up for the 50th. So I think it could just be, hey, you know what? The 50th, we're willing to spend the money. We think the interest is there. We think we'll more than make our money back. And hey, maybe people love it so much we do it with Empire and Jedi too. I also think that my wilder speculation is that there is a possibility that George is softening on this. The Museum of Narrative Art, in my opinion, George is getting up there, and I think this is his sort of last statement to the world of here is who I am, here is what I contributed to the world. It is a museum of narrative art about preserving the history of art. So maybe there is a look, the special edition is always going to be the main version. Fair enough, this version can be available as a form of history. And he's just softening on that as he works on a museum that is all about the history of narrative art. Maybe not. Maybe he's gnashing his teeth and blocking Kathleen Kennedy's phone number. Maybe he's just fury eating Sabaros somewhere. But I also just think he might have softened on it and been like, "It's fine. You have my quiet blessing behind the scenes."
Jen, you're the investigative reporter of the bunch here. I know you're busy with school, but this is the documentary I want you to make. Yeah, where do you go with this as well? Some great points there by Joseph.
I think it's a branding thing. I heard listening to a podcast and it's about branding, and they were talking about like how Mattel is now bringing things out of the vault and rebranding it. Like Uno has suddenly become very popular again, right? So they're taking what they already have and repackaging it and re-releasing it. And we've been seeing this a lot more with some movies like Back to the Future and how the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey is going to be re-released in theaters. And obviously Star Wars has re-released their movies on May the 4th and whatnot. But I think that this is like a rebranding, reintroduction of what Star Wars is. Here is the original, newly restored. Here it is. We're starting new generations, new audiences that can be exposed to this. Of course, there's all the other wonderful, heartwarming things, but I do think business-wise, it's a branding thing, and it's very, very smart. And it makes it more of an event to go see. It is a must-see event to go to the movie theater, buy your $20 ticket, right? As opposed to just watching it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I love what you're both saying here. First thing I'll start with, Joseph. We have kind of lived under this almost like this running joke that it's in the contract, right? That George sold
Mm-hmm.
it, but the originals couldn't be released. I don't recall ever seeing that. I don't call that being shared.
Yeah.
I think that was just speculation at most, unless I'm completely wrong out there and someone can link a story to it. I don't know. That's an actual factual quote from George, Bob, Kathy, anyone. George sold us this thing, but his one condition. I think just maybe we all thought that. And I really do think there's a softening, and also a kind of him onto other things. And that, yeah, maybe all parties looking to, hey, we got the 50th. We celebrated the 50th of Lucasfilm in 2023, right? We just the company got a big celebration.
Mm-hmm.
We got the thing that really kind of put it all on the map for us all. The reason we're all here. What are the ways to do it? Hey, would this be possible? And yeah, I think George is on to bigger fights. We can joke about him not wanting a ton of Star Wars in his museum, but even he knows he's got to have some.
and he's got some.
He's got some.
Yeah, I mean.
So it all kind of makes sense. And Jen, to your side, yeah, I think if you're looking to what to do, a lot of conversations this past week with this potential destructive merger with Netflix and Warner Brothers. And, I'm hopeful that it won't go through, but I'm not even hopeful what's beyond that. Who knows what other mergers will happen? I mean, this is just this game. And at the center of this conversation last week over that potential merger, was the theater going experience, and Ted Sarandos just thinks it's dead. And I'd love to disagree with him, but I don't go to the theaters anymore. But stuff like this does bring me out. Stuff like this, absolutely. I think should happen every weekend. Every theater everywhere should have some film that you don't get to experience anymore. See it on the big screen. I think that would bring people out, and I think this is all part of it, and it's smart, and it's part of the branding. And yeah, at the end of the day, if there truly was a conversation of George going, no, I don't want to do this, maybe Kathy goes, George, your goddamn museum is about doing this. All right. That's fictitious in my brain. That's fictitious in my brain. Any surprise? I joke about McClunky. I don't think it's going to happen, but I secretly hope that there's some little Easter egg that George says, all right, but there's some shot I'm going to put in there. I don't know. It's just, am I twisted for that?
No. I looked up the actual, so when they say the original 77, I looked up on Wikipedia. So the different versions of the film had different stereo in different sound mixes. So Wikipedia says in May, Star Wars was theatrically released 3 different audio versions: a Dolby stereo mix, a 6-channel mix for 70mm screenings, and a mono mix print were created with significant differences. Notably, the mono mix print featured several alternate and additional sound effects and lines of dialogue, including different lines of takes of dialogue from like Aunt Beru. So there were different versions of the 77 version. The mono mix is what Lucas had ran with. So I'm in future things like the special edition. So I think the mono mix will be what it is. And I think beyond picking which of the mixes that was floating around in 77, I think it's going to be as close to the original presentation as humanly possible. No secret McClunkies. I think that's kind of the promise of saying the original 77 one.
I agree. Jen, any wild theories? Any things you want to see in there?
I think it's just going to be surprising because I'm become so accustomed to watching the special editions and the new editions, whatever they may be. So that's going to be surprising, and it's probably going to feel less immersive, or I don't know, less like I don't want to say cinematic, but like I think I'm going to have to change the way that I view it. It's not going to feel like how the prequels felt when I went and saw that recently. Wow, that really blew me away. It's going to feel maybe a little bit smaller, and that's okay. I welcome that. It'll be good. That will be surprising though.
There you go. Joseph, what are you looking forward to at this screening? Let's close on some hope.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a couple things. I'm looking forward to, one of the things they didn't say is if this is just going to be a standard digital projection, a DCP, or if it's going to be a mix of DCP and in theaters that are equipped to play it, actual film. Are they going to make a 70mm print that you can, go to the Egyptian and see it in 70mm if you're lucky to have a theater near you that does that? All the Alamo Draft Houses anywhere near you. I was lucky to see one. I've seen a lot of screenings on film because we're really lucky to have so many theaters that do that in the LA area. but in particular, I saw one battle after another on brand new, film stock. But it already, because it is like the light is there projecting, it jitters, and even that was brand new. It had just been played for a couple of weeks, and it still had little scratches and little bounces, and that makes it feel more alive. And I think that's going to be a very different experience, and I think it will make it feel even more alive if it is actually on film. So I'm hoping it's film, but the other thing I'm really excited for is to hear it in a big theater.
Yeah,
because they're not just redoing the picture. I'm sure they're redoing the sound, and not that I remember what the decibel level was in '77, but movies are louder now. So it is going to be the music we all know and love, but sternum rattling level of sound, and I am excited to experience that.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Jen, when you go, what are you actually looking forward to?
I want to see it in VistaVision. Yeah, that to me makes it more special, right? Like something like that, or the Egyptian, where it does feel more alive and like a piece of history. Like I want that experience. I don't want to go to my local theater, AMC. Like I want something really, really grand. But that's just me. I hope that everyone goes and sees it wherever they can, and if I have to drag my kids to the AMC, then I will. However we can get there. So
I led you to victory in that basketball game. You're going to see Star Wars.
Oh my gosh. Every time we go by the Mando and Grogu poster, my 6-year-old's like, yeah. My 10-year-old's like, oh God, no, Mom. I'm like, come on. Come on.
Come on, kids. Enjoy Star Wars. Great stuff. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the community. I've enjoyed the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith screenings. Those were just a ton of fun. I hope we get one for Force Awakens. I don't know about that yet, but this is just going to be a ton of fun. A mini Star Wars celebration in a theater, whichever one you go to. And I will truly approach it with fun. I don't want to be clear. I wrestled with how angry I was going to go this episode. Luckily, Joseph, you said some things. And Jen, actually, I didn't want to be cringe. So thank you both for making sure I was in check. But to me, if you are a person who's like, yeah, I prefer the original versions, and that means whatever, just means non-1997 and beyond editions, I don't, it doesn't disqualify you as a Star Wars fan to me. I interviewed on Screen Junkies back in the day, Harmy P, I believe is his name, who did Star Wars The Special Eds. Passionate Star Wars fan. Meant no harm, meant no anger, but did have a strong opinion about, that, and just wanted to help preserve the air. I don't immediately come at any of those folks with daggers. It is when, much like a dark side user unnaturally pushes the dark side over the light, it's when Star Wars fans start to do that is when I want to ignite my blade and stand alongside Star Wars fans who just want to enjoy what they want to enjoy. So yeah, all that said, I'm going to get a big, whatever the popcorn bucket will be. Who knows what it will be?
I hope it's Greedo's body.
Greedo's body popcorn.
You reach into the smoking blaster hole.
Could it be Ponda Baba's severed limb?
Severed arm.
That's what I was thinking. Yes. Can you
Oh my
imagine? Oh, that'd be great. They should do that like for drumsticks, like at Disneyland.
So good.
A giant turkey drumstick.
Yeah.
Oh.
The last thing I wanted to say is that I am really excited to see the Han shoots only scene, because I do personally feel like it's a better scene. As I've said many times, I feel like the Han flicking the little bit of stucco on the wall to draw Greedion's giant Rhodian eyes over there is just, it's such a fantastic bit of filmmaking. And I understand Lucas coming at something and saying, this is the morality I want to present. I just do think that it doesn't feel particularly cold-blooded to me ever, because Greedo has a blaster on him and says, basically, I'm going to kill you now. So it's always felt like self-defense from Han's perspective. Yeah. So I am excited to see that scene, and I do think that people will scream with joy at that scene, and I'm going to try to just let myself be joyful and scream along with them. Yeah,
there's a longer conversation perhaps about George correctly going through a couple big periods of, I don't think people got it when it comes to like Anakin and Han and why they looked up to him and why they, One of the reasons I love Solo so much, a Star Wars story. Anyways, no, I agree with that too. It's going to be a ton of fun, and Force Center will be there, so we'll let you know. Make it a thing. I don't know. 2027 so far.
Ken
So
just
far.
throwing out those 2027 promises.
I don't even know
And we're
where
going to wear swimwear too. Who cares? It's 2027 We don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know where I'll be in 2026 January. Anyways, that is it. That's our Star Wars special report for Star Wars 77 coming back to theaters there. Thanks for listening, watching. Thanks for watching the live stream yesterday with Alex and Molly. And you can follow us on social media at ForceCenter Pod, TikTok, ForceCenter Show. Hey, jump into that Patreon page. There's a good spot to discuss Star Wars. Get into our Discord by going to patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can also get merch. I'm getting choked up on my bile, I guess. You can get merch at Fourth Wall or Still T Public. Links down below on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Hype the video. YouTube really wants you to hype the videos.
Is that a button?
It's a button. It's an option.
Okay.
You hype it. It's a thing, but it helps. So there you go. Follow me at Ken Napzok. I actually got to add it to my website, kennapzok.com. But hey, December 19th, if you're local to SoCal, big show coming up. Have put together a holiday show at Flappers Comedy Club Friday night, December 19th, 7:30 p.m. Great performers, Jason K, Grace Cosmeyer. If you liked the Romances Why We Love Star Wars episode, that was Grace. Come on out and see her. She's a very smart comic, very great joke teller. Also, Carter Parton Rogers, a comedy act you just have to see to feel the joy. And then Joseph Scrimshaw and me as well. Gonna be a lot of fun. Tickets at Flappers as well. So that's my life. Jen, yours.
You can follow me on all the social media sites at Jennifer Landa. I'll have a break soon, so maybe I'll be able to post things. Or TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138.
There you go. Joseph, take us home with all your wonderful work.
Yeah, you can find me on all the social media at Joseph Scrimshaw is the handle everywhere. And you can check out my website, josephscrimshaw.com, for updates on the horror film I made with wonderful people. It is called Dead Media. There is a mailing list to sign up to get information about what's coming next. And you can still contribute, make a donation if you'd like to make it a year-end tax-deductible donation to Dead Media. Hey, I need to pay for all of that marketing stuff, which turns out is a huge part of the budget. Anyway, if you're interested, check it out, and thank you so much for the support on the film.
There it is. We'll see you in the theaters in February of 2027. Book it. We'll be there. See you next time here on ForceCenter.